Alright, Mr. Streamlabs says we're working. Let's see if we're working. Survey says... Show me potato salad. Yep, there we go. Alright, we're working. We're streaming. We got the Mountain Dew. We're good. Everything in the world is okay. That's not true. But we're doing our best. Crazy work day today, which is why I'm super late. Hello. Yeah, normally I like to do these around 10, but super crazy work stuff. But got it all handled. We're good. World is not on fire. It is, but less. So that's good. That's good. Okay. I don't know what I'm going to do today, but I wanted to stream something, so let's see what we got on the table, because I have a ton of stuff. Let's look at the other cam. Get her up and running. So nice I don't have to remember to charge this anymore, because I've got the new fancy charger. So let's get her fixed and sorted real quick. Let me get it moved down, and then we'll take a look at some stuff, because I've got a lot of projects on the table right now. I'd like to get some of them finished up. Alright. Go. There we go. There we go. Alright, that should be job done. Hopefully I didn't screw the sound up. Alright. Magic button time. There we go. The desk cam actually working again. We got it fixed. Alright. So, last night I was having some trouble sleeping, so I built an Orcmobile. Vroom vroom. This orc here is going to get a nose apparatus and like a backpack with some vents in it, like Rictus or Rectus, to go with the rest of my war boys. I started putting some more color on Gazgul. Maybe we'll work on him today. I need to resculpt his nose, because his nose is actually wrong. The horror, I know. Apparently Immortan Joe has like sort of a muzzle-like nose with one hole in it, not like a skeleton nose. Didn't know that, so I'm gonna have to scrape part of that off and re-sculpt it. So got to do that. I have my Hive Tyrant, Hive Lord, guy with the wings. Started blocking his colors. He looks really rough right now, but working on blocking his colors in. So maybe we'll work on him, get him looking a little bit better. I also have a bunch of Plague Marines who are starting to get their details. These are the guys that we started working on last week, and then we decided screw it and went and finished up this tank. So this tank's still waiting for washes. Doesn't have washes yet. I'm apparently actually out of Agrax First Aid. The other one I have right now is pretty thinned, so it doesn't work super well. Ends up creating things that looks like that, and I want it to be a little darker and grimier than that without doing many layers. So I'm gonna wait and pick a new one up at the hobby shop next time I go. And then we have, oh, just knocked over my Hive Tyrant, or my Swarm Lord rather. We have our friend the Workhorse Knight here. And he's pretty much all done, minus maybe some more weathering I'll do on him. But he's got some muck on his toes there. He's got dirty toes. And he's going to stand up. Thank you. We were working on his base. So he's got his trench base here with the little platforms to walk down, some cables running there. He's got the barbed wire and the dragon's teeth here and there. And then we've got his pilot, who is probably what I'm going to paint today. Yeah, I think I'm feeling the pilot today. So we'll go ahead and we'll work on him, get him done up, so I can get that night completed. And then maybe on Sunday I'll play a incursion level battle report with both the knights. Might be cool. Maybe we'll do that. Alright, so this guy needs some love, as you can see. He is a Skaven Pilot with a tail that I made, and a head that I also attached there. But you can see the head is a little rough. So let's tighten up some of his details and then hit him with some washes. His details are actually pretty small, so I'm actually going to get the other light as well. I don't always use that light, but I do when it's a tiny, itsy bitsy little Skaven man. Alright, so let's get his teeth blocked in, and then we'll see what's going on from there. Alright, let's move Orctus Erectus here. You can go over back here. Alright, Skeleton Bone by Warpainter. This is from the giant war paint set that my parents had gotten me. Big fan of that. Still using it. Like a year later, that thing still hasn't run out of paint. Which is why dropper bottles are great. Fuck this bullshit, GW. This stuff is fucking horrible. I mean, this paint is great. Avalanche Sunset's like my favorite color, but the pots are not the best. Alright, so let's just get some teeth blocked in there. What I'm probably honestly going to have to do is I'm probably going to hit this guy with a wash and then come back in and clean it up afterwards. Just so I have an idea of where the details are, because they're a little rough to see right now. Right. Let's clean up some of his jumpsuit details with Xandri dust. This is pretty much pre-thinned in the pot with a little bit of water and some mixing medium. Should you pre-thin in your pots? I like to, because I hate putting the GW stuff on a palette. It always feels really wasteful to me. But you probably technically shouldn't. Alright, so let's look at these details here. Okay. I need some cleanup. I don't think the black straps and stuff is working. I don't think it's reading really well. So we're gonna update the color on those. Let's move our little trench base somewhere else, and we'll repaint those straps in a different color. Let's see, we've got leather brown, might not be bad. What else do I got floating around my desk here? I've got castle gray, that's the color of the fur. I've got dirt splatter, it's a little bit of a darker brown, it's not bad. And then I've got oak brown, which is like the darkest brown I have. That's not true, I have Sigor fur somewhere around here. There it is right there. This stuff is like, I don't know why they say it's a contrast paint. It's basically just black. Like a dry, slightly brownish. It's really, really, really dark. All right, so let's do the darker one. Let's do our. Yeah, we'll do oak brown. I actually take that back. His fur is not castle gray. His fur is dungeon gray. And we'll have to touch that up as well in a minute. But let's get rid of some of this black. I just don't think it's working on this guy. All right. So on here. Just gonna pick those little details out. The things like his straps and stuff like that. All the stuff I'd painted black previously. Just because don't feel like it's working. Ended up giving him red armor because I wanted him to have a little bit of contrast. That wasn't like pure metal color. Because he is going to be on a brown base. And although his armor probably should be green, I liked the idea he had a little bit more of like, you know, he's a knight pilot, right? I wanted him to have a little bit more fancy than, you know, someone who's piloting a sentinel or something. You know, like, not everyone can be a knight pilot. Like, you have to be, it's basically like Pacific Rim. You have to be compatible to be able to do it. You have to be able to, like, sync with the machine spirit and stuff. And if you can't do that, you can't pilot a knight. So, if you can do it, you're a special man already. So I kind of want him to have a little bit special armor to reflect that. So that's why I want some red. Because really, this knight, it's kind of themed to go with my Skaven themed Gene Stealer cults. But they can't actually have a knight. But I really wanted them to have something to like stand with them. I thought it would look really cool. Because the Gene Stealer cults don't really have a big model unless you throw in a bunch of Tyranids. But like, you know, like workhorse kind of soldiers, kind of like cobbled together, like repaired gear and stuff. Like, they don't have a big model, so I wanted something to go with them on the table. Or on the shelf, even though he can't play with them on the table. But he will join my Knight army. And since his base got finished before my Knight Valiant, he will be the Knight that ticks me up into 1,000 points worth of Knights. So maybe on Sunday they'll fight some demons or something. We'll see. Now when my Valiant's done, I'll be at 1,500 points of Knights. And I will be rocking almost a full Knight army, which is really cool. The Knights are really fun projects, to be honest. They're one of my favorites. Just because they have like a lot of depth for customization. Like, they're definitely not a project that someone that's new should do. Because I feel like it's a little bit of a waste just to like paint them standard colors. I like the idea of like fabricating parts for them and, you know, like doing custom patterns and stuff like that. Like, I like them being a little bit of like a stunning unit because they're so big compared to the regular miniatures that I like them to really get shown off and really sort of like show, you know, where your skills were at that time when you were painting that army. I think they're really, really good for that. The term for all those words I just said is centerpiece model, but I do think they are a really nice centerpiece model. Alright, touch on the back of the hand here. Yeah, already that brown looks better than the black did. It just ties in better with everything he's got. Yeah, that just fits the color palette better. It's less contrasting. Usually, like, contrast is good, but it's too stark. The black was. It was too harsh compared to the other sort of dull tones this guy has, minus the red. And this way, with it being slightly lighter than black, when I hit it with a wash, it'll light up some of the details. You'll get some shadows on this and it'll look really nice. On like the pouches and stuff, for example. Go. Alright. I think that's all of the straps and stuff done. There we go. Okay. Alright, we got this one here. We'll try not to drop him into the palette because that could be super, super, super bad. We'll try to get this down here a little darker, a little more brown. There we go. I'll hit this hand again just to tighten it up. Alright, okay, cool. So let's touch up some more of the details then. Let's touch up some of the silver. So, Shining Silver from Army Painter as well. I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to hit some of the details to tighten them up. You get a bunch of the areas where I screwed it up. Things like the buckles and the tubes and stuff. Just go ahead and tighten those up. There we go. And this panel here on the inside of the arm, and we'll do the rim of the outside. So that will make it stand out a little bit more when you look at it. See? And by framing it up, it looks a little bit nicer. Same thing with these here. Same with these guys. Just framing them up, making them a little bit tighter. Getting the details to stand out a little bit more. It's got little belt pouches there on each one of those. You can see where I made a mistake, and we'll fix that up while I'm here too. And the handle for the case, I'll get that as well. This little clip here, fix him too. And then the clips here on the boots. So, bing, bang, boom, bosh, blurp. And same thing on this side. Bing, bang, boom, bosh, blurp. There we go. Tying up those little guys there. Okay. We got some things on the case here because I don't really have any color on this case. We can put that in as a separate detail. That'll be nice. It's hitting up in the neck here with this silver. Alright, cool. Alright, so our next color is to tidy up the red. But since I have a bunch of silver left over, I'm going to go put it on Immortan Thraka, since I've already got it out. This is why it's very helpful to have more than one project running at a time. It helps you not waste paint. So, this guy is going to have primarily silver armor, and then some areas are actually going to be completely chromed. So I have a chrome pen from a company called Molotov. I use it for Gundam visors a lot, so the little like eye sensors and stuff behind the visor, if you hit them with Molotov chrome, they shine through the visor really, really nice, look really rad. So I'm going to be using that on a bunch of his gear. So most of his armor is going to be silver, and then things like this skull and You know, like this skull and like the area around his mask. All that stuff's going to be like actual chrome. So he can be shiny and chrome. Ironically, Immortan Joe doesn't actually have chrome teeth, which I think is kind of funny. He actually has bone-colored teeth, but like his mask around the bone-colored teeth is chrome. So we're just going to use up the rest of the silver since we got it out. No reason to waste it since we got it out. I mean, this metallics you usually want to do a couple coats in so you get really nice coverage. So just saving ourselves some hassle of doing that later. And not wasting paint, which is always good because paint is expensive. Nice. Alright, cool. So Mr. Shiny and Chrome will go back to the back burner. And we'll carry on with our colors for our little Skaven. Alright. His armor is not vampire red, it is pure red. Where is the pure red? Are you pure red? No, you're scar tissue. Are you pure red? Pure red. In GW colors, this is Mephiston red. It's a nice color. It has pretty decent coverage and it's very bright. So since we are going to be hitting with a wash, I still want his armor to be a little bright afterward. So we are doing a brighter base coat. So that afterward it'll stand out and he'll still be a pretty little ratty. Oh. Irony is, I painted... See, I forgot to outline this panel. See how junky it looks? So, ironically, we're actually going to have to get more silver out because I just used it all. Maybe I'll try to get some off the plate. We'll see if we can get some off the plate. I'm just going to tidy some of these up. Alright, let's see if we can actually get a little bit of that silver. Maybe? Alright, we got it done without having to pour more silver. Hell yeah, we are rocking today. Work went super good, and now we are rocking this model. Alright. Okay, back to the red. I want to get that before it dried more. So, back to the red. Here we go. Again, just tidying up the lines. We are going to hit it with a wash, so some of this will get sort of overlaid, but a little bit is nice. So this model is the Canis Rex model base, plus a rat head, plus a rat tail. But I didn't do any other mods to him besides I had to build out his one boot a little because when I went to put a magnet in it, because he's actually magnetized to the base, when I went to put a magnet in it, I broke his foot. So yeah. And I apparently forgot to paint his helmet, so we'll do that now as well. Nice. Okay, cool. And then we'll paint the visor on the helmet. Actually, you know what? That's just going to fill in with wash, let's be honest. You're really not going to see that visor at all. Yeah, I want to do it. Let's do it in a contrast color so it's nice and easy to paint. Or we can use an ink. Ooh, nah, let's use a contrast color. Let's figure out which one. Let's do it in Aethermatic Blue, the ghost color. Let's do it in that. So, just gonna get a little bit of this on our brush. A little bit more than that. And we're just gonna dab this area here. Like that. This paint being a little bit more liquidy will do the work for us of going into that crack. Giggity. Alright, so he's coming along. So let's tidy up his gray, clean that up some, and then we will give him a couple minutes to dry, and then we will hit him with that watered down Agraxar shade I mentioned. And see how he ends up. Whoa, that's a lot of gray. See how he ends up looking. That's a lot more gray than I intended to pull out, but okay. So yeah, I just want to touch the face up a little bit. And we're probably going to have to do this after the wash when I can see some of these details tighter. But right now, we're just going to go ahead and hit it as best we can. And a bunch of this going down his back here. It's actually just green stuff I sculpted to make the connection a little tighter. I was like, oh, I'll just turn it into fur. And you can have like some fur tufts that'll look cool. Just tightening up some of the lines. I do like to paint my rat men with bare muzzles. I don't know why. Rats don't really have bare muzzles. They have full furred faces. But for some reason I think it just looks good. Same thing I usually paint their bellies. Is having really thin fur or like no fur. So it's also another weirdity that I do, but I think looks good on my rat men. There he goes. We're going to send him to dry to one side. And we're actually going to grab another rat man. Since we have so much of that gray left over, that we'll work on. Let me find a good one. This guy will do. Alright, just so we block in some of that gray on this guy since we have so much left over. I did not intend to pull this much out of the pot, but if you got it, you should use it. We're waiting for the other guy to dry anyway. So, these are clan rats. I technically the largest army I have is Skaven. That's for Age of Sigmar and Warcry. These guys are from the Skaven Warcry box. For Age of Sigmar, you can never really have too many clan rats. They're like your core battle line for most things. And the Warcry box came out for the Skaven, so I picked it up. Oh god, a couple months ago now. I've had the rat ogres from that box built up for a long time now, but I hadn't built all the clan rats because I just haven't had a need for them. But I don't know, the other night I felt like building, so I whipped them all up, and they've been Sitting here primed on my shelf for when I feel like painting some ratties. Because I mean they're a little rank and file, these sculpts are, but I do think they look cool. So we'll do a couple of them in gray while we wait for our other boy to dry. So all my Skaven, they're all different fur colors. I know a lot of people are like, oh, they're all brown or whatever. Well, mine aren't. Mine are all different. I have some white ones, I've got some black ones, I've got some gray ones. Stuff like that. Just because I think when there's a big horde of them on the table, and there's always a big horde of them on the table with Skaven, I think it looks cooler when you have some variation in the color. So we'll grab a couple more and paint a couple more this gray as well. So this box of Skaven, I actually didn't build it with a Claw Lord or a Claw Leader. So I didn't build the leader model, I just turned him into a regular rat. And I built half the box as spears and half the box as swords. So it basically takes my Skaven existing units and just makes them bigger. So I added 10 guys with swords to the unit and 10 guys with spears to my units, which is pretty cool. Skaven are easily my favorite faction in any game. The rat guys are just super cool. There's a really nice duality in them between like being horrifying and being silly, and being like disgusting and being cute. One of my favorite pieces of Skaven artwork is actually like a Skaven scribe. And he is the most fucking adorable thing with these little glasses. But like he's in basically like a filth pit surrounded by like drooling Skaven marauders. And it's such like silly juxtaposition, and I love it. I really like that they can, you know, do both, right? You can have both of those aesthetics in one army. You know, from LOL, silly rat men always blow themselves up, to, you know, oh god, they're everywhere, make it stop. I think that's really cool. There we go. And we'll paint one more of these guys gray, and then we will move on. Let's grab this guy. I think I painted mostly spear guys gray, so we'll paint one of the sword guys gray. Then we'll go back to our Knight Pilot in a minute. He should be dry now, and we should be able to hit him with our wash. There we go. Make sure that in there is painted. Alright, let's check our guy, see if he's dried up. Alright, looking pretty good. Okay, let's hit him with our wash and see what details show up and what doesn't. So we're going to use that thin down Agrax Earthshade I mentioned earlier. Basically what happens with Agrax Earthshade is if you have, like, say the last like 10% of a pot, it becomes really, really strong. So anytime you use it, it makes a really, really strong like smear and dirt and stuff. So I tend to add a little bit of medium and some water to it to thin it down and sort of restore the pot. It never gets back to where it was strength-wise, obviously, but it's still super useful for some things, especially things that you don't want to be as brown. Like it's a little bit of like a lighter kind of wash. Come on, brush. Come on, pick some paint up. There we go. We're just going to slap some wash on him. See how he ends up looking. Getting all the little crevices, all the little details. Get it up in there, back of that case. His boots. Man, maybe this is like way too thin. There we go, it's rocking a little bit. It's really thin though. This might be too thin, we might have to use a different wash. Alright, well we'll do this one first and then go from there. See how it dries? See, that's what I was worried about. That right there. Okay, well, Mr. Man, we're going to have to repaint your nosy. Because I screwed up. That's fine. That's fine, that's fine. We'll repaint your nosy. Okay, well, now that he's washed, we'll go ahead and we'll sand him over on this magnet thing so he can dry, and we'll check him in a couple of minutes. Alright, what are we doing next? We could do some details on Death Guard, or we could work on Big Tyranid. Let's work on the Big Tyranid. Don't really feel like painting Death Guard right now. Alright. Here we go. Alright, so this is Drake Tooth by Army Painter. I'm going to use this for all of the claws and talons and teeth and stuff like that on this Tyranid, who I am blocking colors in for. So he looks super... Stop. Thank you. Super rough right now. Also, I want to get my drink. He looks super rough right now. But it's just because we're blocking our colors in on him. He doesn't have any real painting. Basically, I'm doing a layer of base coating just so I know where all the details are and what color they're going to be. And then when I come in and layer on top of it, it'll help clean it up. It'll help make it more easier to do. So I'm just going to do the same thing here. And we're going to pick out all of his claws and bits and bobs. So these Tyranid guys, they're going to have a ton of different layers. I really like how I've decided to paint my Tyranids, but man, they are a lot of layers. Now I think I figured out the painting order. And honestly, that's one of the best things you can do when you're doing initial test models, is to figure out the order of application of your steps and layers, as it will save you a ton of hassle later. And generally, you want to paint from the inside out, so the lowest layer of clothing or skin or armor or whatever to the highest level possible. In this case, this guy will be getting this base coating for most of his colors, just get them blocked in, and then he's going to be getting a layer of dry brushing over all of the purples with sort of a pink, and then from there he'll be getting washes. He'll be getting one coat of wash over everything. Just a Nuln Oil, a black-based wash. And then he'll be getting another dry brush over his entire body. Or rather, I'm sorry, over all the purple areas of that pink again, just to add like tighter highlights, so that you end up having a variation in your highlights there with very little work. And then after that, I will be touching up the edges on all of the orange. Just manual edge highlighting and touching up, just to make sure that there's some crisp color contrast there. I'll then be painting his belly blue, so he'll be getting stippled / sponged belly painting in Acidic Mist, which is another Army Painter color. It's sort of a light blue. And then he will be getting parts of his armor done in black, and then gloss coated, because over those sections he'll be getting color shift paint. So he'll have these sort of like color shift paint highlights as well. And then all of the pink sections are actually going to get, not 100% sure yet. I think I'm going to do them in an ink, or maybe actually hit them all with a slightly watered down contrast paint. Not 100% sure what I'm going to do to the pink sections yet. Just to add them, to give them a nice little bit of pop. After that, the wings are going to be getting dots. Basically like watermarks on the inside of the wings to add patterning to them, because they're a big empty flat section. So he's got a lot of work ahead of him. Ideally, he'd be done in time for Monday, but that's probably not going to happen. So Monday is a local painting competition, and if I can, or rather the start of Monday is a local painting competition. It actually, drop-off actually runs for 2 weeks after that. So ideally, he will be my entry when he is finished. If he's not, I have some Skaven models I'll be entering, sort of as a backup. I really like those models. I'm very proud of them, but they're my failure state if I can't get this guy together in time. So fingers crossed, we are rocking and good to go. But we'll see. Right now, I am just blocking in these colors. So it's going to take a couple of layers and stuff like that. It's going to be a couple layers, and then there's going to be some layering and then some cleanup. And then he'll be ready for all of those washes and dry brushes and stuff I mentioned. So it's got a long way to go still, but he'll get there. He will get there. I will say I'm quite happy with the color shift paints from Vallejo. The shifters, as they're called. They're really nice. You are supposed to airbrush them on because they get weird effects if they're too thick. But I've been brushing them on and just making sure to be very gentle with them. And to pay attention to like the thickness of how I apply them and stuff. And I haven't had any trouble with them at all. Even with just brushing them on. So I'm not being the neatest possible here. So there will be cleanup steps, but the neater I can be will save me hassle later. You know, always try to be as neat as possible, but it's not my goal here. You can see like when I painted the lines in the wings here, I just sort of went down them really quickly one night at like midnight and was like, yep, this part should be purple, slap. And now I have to go back and clean them up. I've actually been on the fence of whether or not I want all of the bones and the wings to be visible, or if I only want like the tips to be visible and the rest of it is actually pink. I haven't decided on that yet. You know, like there's actually like skin stretched over it instead. But I don't know if I can pull that look off. So, you can see there's one I forgot to paint when I was painting this at like midnight the one night. But yeah, fingers crossed this guy will be my competition entry. You know, not doing anything fancy for that. I am doing a little bit of, you know, a little bit of extra work on him in the end, especially in the prep stages. Not in the prep stages, in the finishing stages. He'll get a little bit of extra work than I normally do, but you know, I really not a big fan of the idea of like painting for a competition. I much prefer the idea of like painting, you know, because you want to play with the model, or that's how you always want it to look, something like that. You know, painting because you love the model, not because you're trying to appease some kind of like competition god. I don't really like that brand of thinking. And I feel like even if you're painting for a competition, you should be painting to your standard. Like, yeah, you might not do as well, but conceptually I like that better. So I'm going to do him to the best of my ability and then submit him. And if I can't get him done in time, well then I'll submit one of my Skaven. Who knows? It's only $1 to submit a model. Maybe I'll submit them all for the hell of it. You know, submit a couple big Skaven models and this guy. All right. Yeah, this guy is from the Battle Force Skaven box, and I got for Christmas. He will be one of the many HQs from my Skaven army. So I like how the orcs have a lot of fast attacks. The what's it called? Oh, they actually have a lot of heavy support. These guys do. The Tyranids. They have a ton of heavy support units. They also have quite a few HQs, but mainly heavy support. Whereas the orcs have like 1 billion fast attack units. So yeah. And claws are helping him come together a little bit. And next we'll tidy up some more areas. There we go. Alright, that's pretty much all the claws, first round done. Now let's tidy up some other areas. Ugh. So let's tidy up to make sure we have good coverage on all of the purple on those wing sections, because I did do those sort of really quickly at midnight one night. So we'll go ahead and we'll tidy those up. Get that one I missed, stuff like that. And then oh god, we're running late already. After that, we'll check our rat, see how he's looking, and we'll fix his nose up. We are almost at our hours. So yeah, you can see I'm going to need to touch all of those up. Just hit a couple spots that need some love, and then we'll come in with a little brush later and do the rest. I will say, like, the start of the cleanup phases is one of the most cathartic points. Sort of like when you start to remove the model from, like, the chaff. You start to see it start to take shape and stuff. It feels really, really good. Like, oh. Somewhere in all these messy shapes there was a nicely painted model. Who knew? I'll do some extra work on the head too. Maybe get some bulging brain action going there. Something. Alright, so that's some of him cleaned up. He's going to need a lot more cleanup. But get in there. Get in them colors blocked in. Alright, let's look at our ratty. See how he's drying. Alright, not too terrible. Face is not as crisp as I would have liked. But it's not horrible. Let's get a flesh tone out. And touch up his nose that I ruined. A little bit like that, just like that. Yeah, detail's a little soft there, especially around the mouth. Not the biggest fan of that, but maybe we'll try to. We'll try to do a little bit of dry brushing there so we can pick some more of those details out. Come on, come on, come on, come on, no. I know there's paint there, it's just hidden. There it is. Yeah, let's just blend it together a bunch with the wash. There we go. That helps a little bit. But yeah, some of the details there in the face are definitely a little soft. But not terrible. Alright. Let's look at him on the base. Where's our base? There's our base. Alright. And then he goes like that. Now he's a little rat man walking around through the trenches. He only has one magnet in his foot, so he wobbles a little bit, but there he goes. And then we'll put the knight on there with him. Garbage off the bottom of the knight's foot. Click. And then we will swap to the full cam. Move this guy out the way so we can show off our knight. There he is. His base needs to be sprayed still. But there is our knight on his base. Basically all done. Looking fancy. This is my War Dog Workhorse Knight. Again, fully magnetized because I magnetize everything obsessively. Even stuff like a shield and all is magnetized. His cockpit also opens on a custom lever that I built. Rather, custom mechanism. You can look into the cockpit. Oh, let's paint the rat for the cockpit. Yeah, let's do that. He's supposed to have a little rat in there. I totally forgot about it. Let's do that. Bring this camera back. We're back. Moving to the other cam. All right. Little cockpit rat. You're so tiny. All right, let's get you cleaned up. Let's see. You also have some pretty soft details. All right, but you're wearing a little collar. You've got little feet. Let's get you painted, buddy. All right. All right, let's do that tail. Okay. And we'll do his face. Just trying to block the color in there, and then we'll clean it up with the second color. He's not going to be super mega crazy detailed, but we'll get his face painted, we'll get his tail and stuff painted, and we'll paint his little collar, and he'll be a super cutie. A cutie patootie is what he'll be. Nice. Alright. Let him dry for a minute. And we'll figure out what color we want to make him. Castle gray? Or do we want him to be white? Let's do castle gray. And then we'll actually do a white paint over the top of him. Okay. I will say this is the kind of model that you really want to stick to something. So let's do that. Let's get creative, gang. Let's all agree to never be creative again. And if you had blue tack, you could just blue tack him to it. I don't have any blue tack. So our little friend Mr. Ratty's getting super glued. Because ripperoni Mr. Ratty. But at least this way we'll have some way to hold you. And then we'll just snip the peg off of the foot when we are done. So super, super ghetto solution. But doing ghetto solutions is How I've made a living. Boom. So this guy's really just a silly Easter egg in the cockpit, so I'm not going to worry about him being perfect, but I do want him to not look terrible. At least get a couple colors on him, and then we'll glue him into the cockpit. And he will be ready to rock. This is a little ratty from the Plague Monks box. They come with a bunch of these guys on the sprues, which is really nice. I actually ended up putting a bunch of these on two separate bases, and they became my rat swarms. So I ended up having, I think I made 5 extra rat swarms using the guys from the Plague Bearer box, which is really cool. So nice little bit of free models you can't ever pass up. There we go. He's looking pretty decent now. At least he's getting some color in there. We'll do up this side of the face too. Basically painting him just like we painted the other ratty. There we go. Alright, now let's figure out what color his collar is going to be. Clearly the answer is not weapon bronze. Clearly the answer is brassy brass, if I can find it. There it is. I guess this is called bright bronze. I love this color. This is like legitimately one of my favorite colors, especially for metallic. There you go. It shines so well. It's so great. Alright, so let's pick his collar out. There we go. There we go. Alright, I'll touch up his skin one more time, and then we will call him good and put him in the cockpit, and we will call that night done. This will be my technically second fully finished night. This is the one that's on the shelf right here. I actually don't consider done anymore. I used to consider him done, but now I want to do some more to him. I want to expand him out a little bit. I want to get some more details in him, stuff like that. I was actually looking at an STL for a Centaur Knight. So once I get my 3D printer up and running, I might be buying that. I might be picking up the STL. It's like 20 bucks or something. And it's basically a giant 4-legged knight. Well, it's just the legs. You still need to buy the body, which kind of sucks, but yeah. It's a big, like, 4-legged centaur, and I love it. I love it to pieces. So I might be doing that. Alright, so there we go. So let's get him off this thing. Came off nice and easy. I will glue him into the night. That's going to be the hard part. Let's find our tweezers. Oh, where are our tweezers? Because... shit. Where are the tweezers? Nope. Are they over here? We are apparently tweezers down. All right, doing it the hard way. Hard mode engaged. All right, so our little rat here, his tail is actually kind of in the way. So we actually are going to need to resculpt his tail. We can do that, no problem. So let's move our knight off to the side. Right there. And we're going to resculpt this guy's tail. So about there. Snip that off. Drop that out. And then we are going to attach that with a little bit of super glue. We're going to snip this at an angle like this. Okay. Go. I'm going to attach this right there, facing the opposite way. Then we will touch it up with paint. And the join isn't going to be perfect, but honestly, no one's ever going to see it. Like we could straight up clip his tail off and no one would ever know. But I don't want to be that guy, so I'm not going to. Yep. There we go. Then we'll tighten that line up a little bit there. Snip it so it's flush. And we'll hit it with some more glue. Make sure it stays. Okay. And then we'll give that a couple of minutes to dry. And then we'll put him in. So, ideally, he would just be sitting on the seat. Right? That's how I want him, just to sit on the seat. It's going to be a little bit hard to do, though. Just because of the size of the ratty I picked. And the fact that I don't have tweezers. So, we'll figure it out, though. Oh, moving back so you can see into the cockpit there, so you guys can see the seat. I'm going to take this off, and then I can take the cockpit door off as well. Make working there a little bit easier. Alright, it's probably glued good enough. So let's... Yeah, that'll be perfect. Okay, cool. Let's get him out of there again. Let's glue the glue bottle to our hairy arm by accident. And we're just going to go ahead and we're going to put a little bit of glue onto his feet there. Place that tail. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put him in the seat. just like that. And there we go. Thank you. Yeah, they're a lot of fun. They're kind of like chewed up, or at least I tried to make them look like they were chewed up. So like they're not perfectly straight. I wanted them to look like they were kind of done, probably in the field. And there we go. Now we have a little rat as the pilot of our knight. He's there chilling on the seat. Let's paint that one screen too. There's one big, really big screen in the cockpit that I didn't paint. Let's do that. Yeah, let's pick out a couple of the details in the cockpit that I missed. There we go. Just add a little bit more interesting flavor in there. Let's see. Is our red from earlier still active? No. Okay. Yeah, just a little bit of detail there. Not a bad thing. So let's do some in that brass then. We'll paint some more details in that brass. These plugs here in the seat, we'll do those in brass. We're going to move him back so he's easier to can he still be seen on camera? Yes. Okay. Actually, let's go a step further. Let's do one of these guys, huh? Do it the smart way. Thank you about the stripes. Yeah, I thought they were a lot of fun. I thought they would just added a little bit of like color and patterning to like what I wanted to be sort of a like an in the field kind of military tank looking knight. There we go. We'll paint some of this stuff too. Let's paint this. Just picking out little things to add some neat variation when you look into the cockpit, you know. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just want to add some variation in there. Some little bit of interest. I mean, honestly, I think if anyone looks in the cockpit, it's going to be for like a minute at most, so it shouldn't be the most interesting thing on the night, but I definitely don't want it to look completely unpainted. So just want to give it a little bit of detail in there. I think that's pretty good. We'll call that it there. So we got our little friend the knight, who's our little Easter egg, and we'll shut him in forever. Well, not forever. I mean, the cockpit opens and closes, obviously, but you know. Alright, we've got rapid fire battle cannon on one side and big old Gatling gun on the other. And then we'll swap back to the other camera to show them off. And there we go, fully completed. My second fully completed knight. Pilot fell over. I'm going to spray his base and then probably hit it with a little bit of water effects and stuff like that, just make it a little bit more trenchy. But there he is, showing him off in all his beautiful glory with his magnetized Skaven Pilot down the bottom on the base and his trench base. And yeah, there he is. You can see he's got more of those tiger strips on his knee right there too. Alright, Well, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed me doing these weird little hobby debt bits of painting I gotta finish up. And I'll probably go maybe do some work for another hour and then spray him. Alright. Oh, gotta put his rocket pod on. His top weapon is magnetized, but I only have the rocket pod for him painted right now. The top gun is right here.